Hi everyone, welcome to a new line of tutorials starting with Photoshop. What I have open in front of me is Photoshop CS5, but this will be in common with both CS4 and CS5 because most people in the class might not have CS5 or they don't have Windows 7. So people who have low memory or don't have Windows 7, we will try to be as common as possible for both CS5 and CS4. A few improvements are there in CS5, but we'll try to keep it down and we'll try to be as general as possible. As you can see, the interface is already open here. I have opened Photoshop CS5 into my computer, and the main idea behind this particular tutorial is to introduce you to the interface. For people who have never worked in Photoshop before, I mean, this is a very good tutorial for you because you'll get an idea as to exactly how basically when you open Photoshop what all you should do. Now before doing that, let's understand why we've opened Photoshop for. What Photoshop is used for: editing images, for creating images from scratch, from making a composite where you can combine 2-3 different images, okay, and it is a lot of fun. So when you open Photoshop, as usual, like any other software, you have a menu bar, okay. Looks a little complicated, like I'll explain to you one by one what each of them means. This is the basic menu bar. You have all these options in the menu, okay. Besides that, you have this new like allocation of some new looking icons. This MB is a new, it's called Mini Bridge. Bridge is a software which comes with Photoshop or with Adobe package, and Bridge is an excellent software to organize your files, any kind of files, video, still, any kind of files. So when you're working in Photoshop, you can always switch to Bridge where you can actually start looking for files. MB is like a new addition to CS5. It is like, we can open the Bridge from within the Photoshop itself. Just like here, you can browse your files and all that. This is interesting. This is called extras. We will come to it when we actually start working with and open a file. All right. This will become active when we open a file. I'll talk about it when we open a file. This is also will become active when we have any files open. This is a very good way to organize your files if you have multiple files open in Photoshop at one time. These are the 3 different views that you get in Photoshop, okay. So that's pretty much the menu bar. This is the workspace. When you work in Photoshop, you'd like to use a certain kind of layout, and that layout is basically comes from this, options. So Photoshop had made a certain amount of workspace for you. When I click on it, the workspace changes, as you can see. This workspace is something which Photoshop has done for you. If you like to paint, then you click on painting, and all the relevant tools that you want to use for painting will come up, okay. So we'll come to it in detail later. And when you go to window, you get all these different options, okay. These are all the panels. Each panel has got its own function, and you will learn about it as we go along. The most common is obviously layers. As you know, Photoshop is basically a layer based software. You can work with different layers at one point of time, and all will be stacked up here. We'll talk about layers when we get into layers and we work with different layers in one particular image. This is your toolbox. As you can see, it has already been arranged, and to make it look better, it has been all lined up into one column. You can always change it to 2 columns from here. And Photoshop have done this very interesting thing where they have organized the tools according to its functions. As you can see, the tools are actually a lot more than what you actually see. Some tools have been clubbed together, and when you see a small triangle like this against a tool, when you click on it, you can see all the different tools within this tool itself. This is just basically to save space, and here the tools have been combined together by its functions. The selection tools are like this, and the painting tools are like this, and auto photography tools are stacked up together, the vector tools are stacked up together, and the navigation and the zoom in. So it's always nice to work in this view, and also you can also work in this view. It's basically upon your preference. So this is pretty much explains. This is your option toolbar, okay. Any tool you click comes with its own option. Every tool has got a different option. As you can see, when I click on it, the tool option bar changes. Now why is it changing? Because every tool has got different functions, and each functions can be seen from this tool option bar, okay. So this basically gives you additional options when it comes to choosing or working with a particular tool. Let me just do a recap for you. Your menu, typical menu like any other software. Extra benefits of working in Photoshop, you can use to play around with different kinds of views, okay. You can also activate your extras like guides and grids. You can switch to Bridge, which is helpful in basically organizing your files and bringing files to Photoshop. You can choose between 3 different views in Photoshop. Alright, this is your workspace. You can choose a workspace. More about it when we talk about workspace. These are your panels, okay. All the panels that you can work. It depends upon which workspace you're working on. We click on a workspace, it will change accordingly. This is your toolbar. All the tools are stacked up here. These are two different views, a single column view and a two column view. When you click on a tool, you have a different option coming up here. So that pretty much explains the interface. In the next presentation, we'll talk about how you can import an image and how you should start working on a Photoshop.